So I just finished my painful crawl out of Adept, and I learned a lot of things the hard way. And just because misery loves company, I'm here to share those lessons with you. These tips were great for both new players and hardcore grinders looking to clean up their runs. So grab your potions, check your cooldowns, and let's jump into it. Oftentimes, players will refer to interrupting as kicking or just kick. If you hear someone yelling kick, kick, kick in chat, don't worry, they're not trying to start a mosh pit. The term actually comes from an early World of Warcraft days when the rogue's interrupt ability was literally called kick, and the name just kind of stuck around. Now, interrupts are a huge part of Fellowship. You might not really feel their impact when you're chilling a contender tier or doing quick play runs, but once you start stepping into Adept territory, the gloves come right off. Not every mob has an interruptible ability, but the ones that do, oh, they've got options. Let's look at the Deceitful Scholar from the Wormheart, for example. This slippery little nerd has two interruptible casts, Arcane Strike and Rune of Detonation. The one you absolutely need to stop is Rune of Detonation. It deals massive group-wide damage that keeps pulsing until either the cast stops or someone does their job. I like to imagine this guy sitting there like, maybe if I cast Arcane Strike first, they'll waste their kick. You'll run into plenty of mobs like this trying to bait you out of your interrupts like they're fishing for mistakes. As you gain more experience, you'll start recognizing which abilities are the real bang your toe on the coffee table at 3 AM kind of casts. But now let's talk about teamwork, because good kicks win dungeons. If you're pugging with randoms, aka the real test of patience, communication is key. By default, you can press V to mark the target that you plan on interrupting. That puts your portrait next to the mob's health bar, letting everyone know you've got this one. Multiple players can mark the same target, which makes it easier to set up a rotation, like our synchronized swimming team, but with more fireballs. When someone's kick is on cooldown, you'll see a countdown timer on their portrait. Once at 0, they're ready to interrupt again. Simple, right? Just remember, it's your responsibility to use your cooldown wisely, because sometimes your party won't. And other times, they'll just let you find out the hard way. But hey, if your interrupt is on cooldown, that doesn't mean you're useless. Certain mobs can have their cast stopped with other forms of crowd control. Knockbacks, stuns, polymorphs. For example, Rhyme has an ability called Frigid Winds. If nobody has their kick ready to go, timing that ability right can stop a dangerous cast and save your group from a frosty grave. So don't just stand there waiting for your cooldown to come back, do something heroic. Your healer might even forgive you for standing in that AoE last pull, maybe. Another really important part of Fellowship is your defensive abilities. When used at the right moments, they can save you from taking massive damage, and sometimes straight up save your life. Problem is, most players forget they exist until they're already at 2% health, panicking, and suddenly discovering the, oh right, I do have a shield button. As you play more, you'll start to recognize which mechanics hit the hardest, the ones that turn your screen red, and make your healer's voice crack in Discord. If you pop your defensive before those abilities go off, you'll not only survive, you'll make your healer's day. Seriously, nothing warms a healer's heart like seeing someone actually use a defensive. Just like with interrupts, learning which dungeon mechanics do the most damage turns terrifying moments into, I've had worse situations. With the right timing, those big boss nukes go from instant regret to a mild inconvenience. Think of it like turning their attacks from a sledgehammer into just a wet pool noodle. Let's look at an example in the Godless Query dungeon. There's a mob there called the Enraged Earth Elemental, and this guy sucks. He's like a geological version of that one gym bro that won't stop yelling about his deadlifts. He has an ability called Shatter that hits hard, and he casts it multiple times. And each time he does, the damage ramps up until you eventually just crumble painfully and slowly while your healer sighs and questions their career choices. But here's the secret. If you save your defensive for the biggest stack of Shatter, you can cut that damage way down. Your healer will love you, your tank will respect you, and your DPS friends will still probably stand the fire. But hey, you did your part. Using your defensive smartly is one of the subtle things that can separate good players from great ones. Anyone can panic kill after the fact. By anticipating the danger and preventing the damage, that's what makes you look like a pro. You know that classic MMO rule, don't stand in the glowing circles? Yeah, in Fellowship, that's true, except when it's not. If you see a circle with arrows pointing towards the center, that's not your cue to run away screaming. That's a soak mechanic. Someone needs to stand in it, or your entire team's about to become a modern piece called Wipe Number 7. If there are multiple soak circles, split them up. One brave soul per circle. If there's one big one, everyone hops in together. Think of it like a team building exercise, except instead of trust falls, it's trust soaks. And the only thing might be falling is your health bar. When you're new, here's the cheat sheet. Swirls, step away. Arrows pointing in, step in. Keep that rule in your head and you'll dodge or soak 90% of the nonsense. Over time, you'll start learning which abilities break the rule, but until then, this simple trick will save you from a lot of embarrassing floor tanking moments. In the Empyrean Sands dungeon, right before the final boss, there's a pack of mobs that include a caster named the Nightbound Magi, and this guy loves chaos. When he's alive, he spawns a soak mechanic that deals a ridiculous amount of damage if ignored. You'll see these large purple circles on the ground, complete with those inward pointing arrows we talked about. That's your cue to step in, not out. And yes, these mechanics can show up in boss fights too, so keep your eyes peeled, because nothing says team wipe like everyone heroically dodging that circle that they're actually supposed to stand in. In short, sometimes the safest place is inside the danger zone. Alright, my final tip for you, let's talk gear. Because no matter how good you are at mechanics, eventually your stats will need to hit the gym too. As you run dungeons, you'll pick up all kinds of loot. Some of it will be amazing upgrades, and some of it will just make you question whether your loot table has a sense of humor. If a piece of loot isn't useful for your build, don't just let it rot away in your bag. Scrap it. Turn that junk into gold, then head over to Bjorn to upgrade your item level. You can also earn gold by turning your supplies for a blacksmithing box. Each one of them gives you 60 gold and some useful materials for rerolling or upgrading your gear at higher tiers. The only catch is there's a 1 hour cooldown, but in a pinch, these boxes are a great way to keep your gold flowing. Now, before you charge headfirst into the next difficulty tier, let's talk about capstone dungeons. Farming these is essential before moving up. The jump in difficulty between tiers can feel like going from mildly inconvenient to who replaced the trash mobs with raid bosses. So do yourself a favor, gear up as much as possible and Sith Rails fall before stepping into Adept. You'll thank yourself when that first boss doesn't two-shot you through your defensives. Do all that and you'll be ready to face higher tiers with confidence. So whether you're dodging swirls, timing interrupts, or bribing Bjorn with gold, remember, everyone starts somewhere. Keep learning, keep improving, and soon you'll be the one carrying those randoms who still think defensive cooldowns is a myth. I'll be doing a deep dive into each dungeon with a full guide and some gameplay, so make sure you guys subscribe if you want to join the adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next run, and hopefully with fewer wipes and more loot.